Madam President, I rise to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the enactment of the Pell Grant, which was named in honor of its author and my predecessor, Senator Claiborne Pell. I might add, a mentor, a friend, and a remarkable example for me. Senator Pell believed in the power of education to transform individuals, communities, and our nation. He worked to put the power of education in the hands of the people. When Senator Pell introduced the legislation to create what would become the Pell Grant, he said, "There is no greater investment this country can make than the education of its youth. Our young people, who are simultaneously our responsibility, our legacy, and our key to problem solving in the future, must be enabled to pass easily into the realm of post-secondary education, and our institutions of higher education must be equipped to accommodate and train them." His words were prophetic and profound. The Pell Grant became the cornerstone for broadening access to post-secondary education. Because of the Pell Grant, over 80 million students and counting have been able to attend college. In 1972, before the Pell Grant, less than half of high school graduates immediately enrolled in college. Today, 2/3 make that transition. Since the establishment of the Pell Grant, the percentage of people ages 25 to 30 with a bachelor's degree has doubled. Today, the Pell Grant supports nearly 7 million students across the nation, including nearly 24,000 in Rhode Island. It remains one of the most effective federal programs in assisting low-income families, with most recipients coming from families with annual incomes of $40,000 or less. It is one of our greatest tools to promote equity and opportunity in the United States. Yet, despite this success, today we find ourselves at a crossroads when it comes to fulfilling the promise of the Pell Grant. We have seen declining enrollment over the past 5 years. Even more alarming is that the institutions that enroll the lion's share of low-income first-generation college students, our community college and public four-year colleges, have seen some of the most significant declines. We have seen an explosion of student debt, loan debt, now standing at more than $1.7 trillion. Debt that threatens to foreclose on educational opportunity for this generation of Americans. And we need to correct course. We have made a start with a bipartisan $400 increase in the maximum Pell Grant in the fiscal year 2022 Appropriations Act, but we need to do much more. The Pell Grant used to cover over 3/4 of the course of a public four-year college. Today, it covers less than a third. When I was growing up and after the passage of the Pell Grant, it was relatively, I won't say easy, but less challenging to go ahead and work your way through college with a summer job and a Pell Grant, graduating with very little debt and moving on in this community and in this society and this economy. Today, it's much more difficult. So it's time to double the Pell Grant. We also need states and institutions to step up. Affordability is a shared responsibility. 50 years ago, Senator Pell led the effort to ensure that courts would not keep talented and committed students from pursuing a college education. In his farewell speech in the Senate, he called on us to continue his commitment to educational opportunity. He said, "In education, I want us to be known as a nation that continually expanded educational opportunities, the nation that brought every child into the education mainstream, and the nation that brought the dream of a college education within the reach of every student who has the drive, talent, and desire." We should always remember that public support for education is the best possible investment we can make in our nation's future. It should be accorded the highest priority. So as we commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Pell Grant, it's time to renew our commitment to college access and affordability. Let's work together to double the Pell Grant, rein in college costs, and reduce the burden of student loan debt. Let's do our part to realize Senator Pell's vision for a country that continually expands opportunity. One final point. Getting to know Senator Pell, it always impressed me that I think one of the formative periods in his life was the beginning of World War II. Senator Pell came from a an old family. Pelham, New York is named after his family. I was once with him, and he informed me that his family once owned Fort Ticonderoga, but then they donated it to the state of New York. He could have very easily, in 1941, got a promotion, got a rank, and served comfortably in some office. He chose not to. He enlisted in the Coast Guard as a cook and sailed across the Atlantic on multiple convoys in dangerous waters. I think there he learned the potential of the American people from those other cooks that would never be able to go to an ideal college because they didn't have the money. But they had talent, and in some cases, more talent perhaps than the senator himself. And I think that image, that impression, drove him in many respects to make the Pell Grant a reality. And of course, it's quite a tribute to a gentleman that could have avoided the difficulties and dangers of war and chose, with his other Americans, to go into the fight. And we have to have that same spirit as we address the doubling of the Pell Grant. With that, Madam President, I would yield the floor.